I've talked about saving money in a lot of my previous videos on senior solo travel, but usually it's been mixed in with a lot of stories and travel experiences. So in this video, I thought I'd put all those ideas together in just one place. A quick list of practical ways I try to keep travel affordable without making the trip feel cheap or restricted. And at the end of this video, I'll link to a playlist with other videos where I go into more detail on many of these topics. So here goes. One of the biggest ways to save money is simply managing when you travel. I almost always look at traveling in the shoulder season rather than at peak times. Flights are usually cheaper, accommodation is cheaper, and the destinations are often less crowded and generally more comfortable. I also avoid major holiday periods whenever possible. And before booking, I usually check the local event calendar. Festivals and special events can drive prices way up. Now, having said that, sometimes those festivals are exactly why you want to go. And that's fine too. Just understand that you're paying a premium for the experience. I also check the usual weather patterns at that time of year before booking. Once I found a fantastic deal on a trip to India, and then I realized it was during the monsoon season. Whoops. When booking flights, flexibility helps. Sometimes shifting your departure by even one day can make a noticeable difference in the airfare. I also look at nearby airports rather than focusing on only one destination airport. For my trip to Seville this spring, I saved money and I got a better flight time by departing from Montreal instead of Toronto and flying into Madrid instead of Seville. Then I just took the train south. It worked out really well and saved me money. And I pay attention to flight timing. If an overnight flight saves me a hotel night or arriving at a different time avoids an extra night of accommodation, well, that can matter. I always look into public transportation from the airport to my accommodation before I travel. Airport trains, buses, metro systems, and shuttle buses can save a surprising amount of money compared to taxis. And honestly, in many cities, they're quite easy to use once you know where to find them. Where I stay also affects my budget quite a bit. I try to stay somewhere walkable, close to the areas that I actually want to explore, or at least somewhere near good public transportation. If I can walk to restaurants, attractions, parks, or waterfront areas, I save money and enjoy the city more at the same time. Within a country, I often prefer trains or buses over short flights. They're usually cheaper, less stressful, and you actually get to see some of the countryside along the way. The regional bus from Lisbon to the Algarve was comfortable, easy, and inexpensive. A lot of people might automatically fly to Faro, but by the time you deal with airport logistics, the bus probably wasn't much slower and it cost a lot less. For me, that bus trip is often part of the experience rather than just transportation. Packing light saves money too. Budget airlines, especially, are charging more and more for checked baggage. A heavy suitcase also becomes a burden very quickly when you're moving through train stations, sidewalks, stairs, and public transit. These days, I travel with carry-on only whenever possible. Food is another area where travel costs can quietly add up. I rarely eat in upscale restaurants, and I always avoid restaurants directly beside major tourist attractions. I try to eat where the local people are eating. Street food, market stalls, sandwich shops, small cafes, these are often less expensive and sometimes more memorable. I'll also stop at a grocery store occasionally and pick up some fruit, snacks, yogurt, trail mix, or a few breakfast items for my Airbnb or hotel room. And I love the street food in Thailand. It was tasty, inexpensive, and somehow made me feel a bit more like a local. And if breakfast is included with the hotel, well, I take advantage of that. A solid breakfast with some protein carries me a long way throughout the day. I also travel with herbal tea and decaf coffee packets because many hotels have kettles, but they don't provide decaffeinated drinks. I like a soothing hot drink in the evening that won't disrupt my sleep. And as for nightlife, well, I'm past the expensive late night partying stage. A night of drinks can become surprisingly costly. And really, I enjoy getting up early far more than staying out late. Early mornings are cooler, quieter, less crowded, and often better for photography too. Technology can save a lot of money while traveling now. I strongly recommend using an eSIM instead of roaming through your home phone provider. It keeps you connected locally for a fraction of the price. And once you have affordable mobile data, tools like Maps, WhatsApp, transit apps, and even ChatGPT become incredibly useful while traveling. I use ChatGPT almost like a portable tour guide sometimes. I can take a picture of a building, statue, or historical site and ask questions about what I'm seeing while I'm standing right there. And because I'm connected through an eSIM or Wi Fi, there's no additional cost to doing that. WhatsApp is also widely used almost everywhere outside North America. Hotels, guides, drivers, restaurants, and tour operators often communicate through WhatsApp, so it's worth having installed before you leave home. One thing that can quietly eat through your data allowance, however, is automatic photo and video uploads from your phone. I turn those off for cellular data while I'm traveling, and I wait until I'm back on accommodation Wi Fi before backing things up to the cloud. I also download entertainment onto my phone or iPad before leaving home. Streaming movies while traveling can burn through gigabytes of data very quickly. When it comes to money itself, I try to avoid unnecessary ATMs. I usually bring a small amount of local currency from home just to get started. But these days, most things can be paid for by tapping a credit card or your phone wallet. And if you're ever given a choice between paying in your home currency or the local currency, always choose the local currency. The exchange rate offered in your home currency is usually much worse. I also use the calculator app on my phone constantly for quick currency conversions, so I have a rough sense of what things are actually costing me. Accommodation choices can save money in other ways too. If I'm traveling for more than a week or so, I really appreciate having access to a washing machine. Doing laundry partway through the trip means I can pack less. I bring along a couple of small packets of laundry detergent for washing clothes and a sink or using in a machine at an Airbnb. One of the best free things in travel is simply walking. Some of my favorite travel days have involved wandering through neighborhoods, parks, harbors, gardens, waterfronts, and local streets with no ticket required. You can see and experience a tremendous amount just by exploring on foot. I also think that it helps to have a rough daily budget before leaving home. Not a strict budget, just a general sense of what feels comfortable for accommodation, transportation, and food. Some days I spend more, other days I spend less. And this isn't about depriving myself, it's just about staying aware of what I'm spending. One funny little trick that I use, because I do occasionally enjoy a beer, is that I usually learn roughly what a local pint costs in a city. Then, when I look at a restaurant menu, the beer price gives me a quick sense of whether the place is reasonably priced or aimed mainly at tourists. Don't forget to ask about senior discounts. Museums, concerts, public transit, attractions, and even some tours may have reduced senior pricing, but sometimes you have to specifically ask for it. And finally, I've mostly stopped buying souvenirs. I really don't need more shot glasses or little trinkets. If I bring something home now, it's usually something practical or edible. Local coffee beans, chocolate, spices, or food items that let me relive the trip a little more after I get home. Sometimes I'll even pack one less shirt that I need, knowing that I may buy clothing while I'm traveling. That way I can wear it during the trip and still fit it into my carry-on for coming home. And in some places, especially when I've traveled in Africa, I brought slightly older clothes with me, worn them for a few days, and then donated them before returning home. One last thing, if you collect points through airlines, hotels, or credit cards, use them. And if you don't belong to a rewards program already, many of them are free to join. Over time, they can really add up. Now, there are some extra costs that solo travelers just simply can't completely avoid. Accommodation, cruises, taxis, tours, often you're paying the same price whether there's one person or two. That's just part of solo travel sometimes. But for me, the independence and flexibility are well worth it. So that's my quick and dirty summary of ways that I try to reduce travel costs. But I want to finish with something I think is important. I don't believe in cutting costs so aggressively that travel becomes uncomfortable or joyless. This isn't about being cheap, it's about being economical and intentional. Spend money on the things that genuinely matter to you. Comfort matters, experiences matter. Sometimes a good location, a nice meal, or a comfortable room is worth every penny. The goal isn't to spend as little as possible. The goal is to spend wisely so that you can travel more often, more comfortably, and with less stress. Enjoy your travels, and I'll see you next time.